I wasn't. I know you did this. I've seen your films before, and I wasn't going to say anything, but right before we left, something happened that I thought that I would talk about. 2007, my wife and I were in Nebraska visiting our son, and I read a news article in the Omaha World Herald that really kind of hit home with me. We talk about veterans and the losses, the deaths that around the world in all these wars, World War II, before that, Korea, Vietnam, every place, what's going on right now. This article was about a man that was looking for crash sites in Nebraska during World War II. There were 12 Army Air training facilities in Nebraska. They trained bombers and fighter planes and whatever else. I don't know for sure what it was. I know where most of them were. There were 54 crashes in Nebraska, killing 229 men. And you don't think about that being training. You know, you think about the deaths as a result of the war, not as training. Nationwide, there was 7,500 deaths from training flights, just training flights. In fact, I was going to tell you one in Nebraska involved 3 airplanes crashing right over the airfield. Who knows what happened? There were more planes lost in training accidents during World War II than were lost in battles in and around Japan. And it's really hard to believe, but it's true. And I think we forget this. And one other thing, that after the war, General LeMay, the commander of the SAC, said that it was more dangerous to fly a training mission in the United States than to fly a B-29 over Japan. It's really hard to believe. So I just wanted people to think about that when they think about the losses, not just the losses in a war zone, but back here. And it's not only airplanes, all sorts of accidents happen in the military, just like in civilian life. Does this keep going on for him? Well, I just wanted to bring that up, and that's all I was going to say until this afternoon. I'm Kirby Prickett. I'm a young Korean War veteran, very young. I was so impressed with the young people that came up to us all through the memorials. It just unbelievable. I told a story that 3 young ladies came up to me at the World War II and said, can we ask you a question? And I said, yes. And they said, who is Kilroy? They hadn't seen it because, as most of you know, it was blocked off, and some of us got over there to see it. So I did my best to explain, and I kind of drew him a picture, looking over the wall. And I told him that he's all over the world, and he's here. I haven't found him, and if you find him, let me know where he's at. And then later on, at the Vietnam Memorial, we're getting ready to leave, and Don and I were standing out, and it had to be 50 kids came up to talk to us, all at once. They were all over the place. And one girl came up to me and said, do you mind if I ask you something? And I said, sure. She said, did you know anybody that was killed in the war? And I honestly said, no, I did not know anybody that was killed in the war. But and then I couldn't say anything else. So I thought I'd tell you. I was in Japan. I was driving. Some of you that were in Japan know where Tachikawa Air Force Base is, and of course Tokyo. Tachikawa is a base outside of Tokyo. Several bases in there. On June 18th, 1953, I was driving a Jeep from Johnson Air Force Base over to Tachikawa delivering a passenger. As we approached Tachikawa, my passenger said, "There goes the C-124. I wonder if he's going to Korea or back to the States." And a C-124, I think most people probably know what it is. It's a very large cargo plane that was also used to carry passengers. A few minutes later, we stopped for a minute. He wanted to stop at a little store outside the base, pick something up. A few minutes after that, we were met with I don't remember exactly what the vehicle was. I guess I would refer to it as a crash vehicle coming towards us. When the driver of the truck saw me, he slowed down and told me to follow him, which I did. When we turned around, we saw smoke. And my passenger said, "My God, that 124 went down." I hope it was carrying cargo. It wasn't. There was 129 souls on board. 122 men were returning to Korea from a 5-day R&R in Japan. And there was 7 crew members. I'm not going to go into detail of what you all know what a crash site is like. They were all killed instantly. The Japanese witnesses said the plane came down in a flat spiral and landed flat. The footprint of the crash sign was as if the plane was sitting on the ground and blew up. And again, I don't have to tell you how bad it was. Again, they didn't die in battle. They died going home after having some well-deserved R&R. So that's what I couldn't tell that little girl. And what I really haven't told a lot of people, but this seems like an appropriate group to tell it. And my point is there's not just plane crashes, but all sorts of accidents. Guns blow up, cannons blow up, people fire in the wrong direction. Happens all the time. I guess that's all I have.